decided that they ran out of time, they were able to have an insane turn with the apprentices, the projects, the arcane intellects, the
Luna is a wonderful card.
Stargazer Luna, exactly. So it might come right down to the wire. I'm honestly not sure, on average, which of those decks is quicker in terms of completing the kill your opponent quest.
Okay, well, we'll continue this lengthy discussion soon. But for now, let's kick off game number 1 of the Global Games Finals. It's Brazil versus China. Both teams on the Hunter. And this is a game I can get into, because if there's anything I like, it's Hunter matchups.
If there's anything I like, it's Hunter versus Hunter. Just a massive weeb.
Hunter X Hunter, yeah. Verse. Same thing, I guess.
Well, I mean, the context of what we're watching, that makes more sense. You have to take these creative liberties every now and again.
I just take every liberty every now and again.
Wow.
Okay.
Not sure that's something you want on the record, but meanwhile, neither player having the strongest opening hand here. No Keleseth, but we do see Devilsaur Egg and Activator on Brazil's side, whereas China just has a bit more of a lonely egg that they can drop onto the board. And yeah, I guess Flanking Strike is quote-unquote an Activator, but not really where you want to be with your life.
Right, and there's also as well this Spider Bomb, a card I'm learning to love even more and more the more I see it get played, is that you can actually just maybe pop an opponent's egg and then just kill the 5/5 straight away. And that often makes such a swing turn that not only have you removed the Death Rattle off the board to actually, you know, dodge the activations, you actually kill the one threat it generates anyway. So we could see that come into play. Both players, both teams keeping it pretty fair, just having Katharina on their hands now. So both teams have an opening of a very explosive turn, 7 or 8, depending on how Brazil use this coin. But also the next few turns are going to be vital, because we've seen games where you now just draw all of the beasts in your deck and Katharina becomes very, very weak indeed.
On that note, Brazil's beast makeup, they have the one charged Devilsaur as their additional beast in the floating spot, if you guess. And actually, China have more. They have the charged Devilsaur and a Savannah Highmane in there, as well as the standard beasts.
Well, so you just have to say that China's Katharina is just more powerful, right? Because it's just more likely to summon something. We've talked about this a lot, where the second summon from the Death Rattle is fantastic, but not overly important a lot of the time. It's the initial, you need it to pull something good straight away to be able to get that high impact turn 8.
China just go ahead, nice and easy turn, drop the egg. Brazil probably had some muted discussions about whether they wanted to accelerate and coin something out, but with Katharina in hand, the ability to be the first team playing Katharina by just coining that out on 7 is something that you do have to plan towards in this kind of mirror match. And just going back to the deck list, I think, you know, China do have a small edge there, because some of the cards that they've cut to make room for things like that extra Savannah Highmane. It's a mind control tech, for example, which, you know, how impactful is it in this matchup? Yes, you can get some big late game swings, but I think in a high level open deck list situation, your opponent plays around mind control tech very effectively.
Yeah, it can be a little bit difficult, because the second you just leave a cube on the board, your opponent can maybe proc it and just create that board to steal from.
Sure.
And what I will say is, if you're behind and you get a strong mind control tech off, that next turn of attacks can often win you the game. You push too much, right? And we do see the Spider Bomb coming down now, being answered by the Flanking Strike and rocking the egg. And suddenly you might think, oh, but you know, they have the activator in the form of Play Dead. Well, guess what? Not next turn, but the turn after, they can just cube a 5/5 and then Play Dead it and then get 2 more from the cube itself. And again, these turns are just too overwhelming. As you mentioned about the mind control techs, Hunter does not realistically run a way to deal with a powerful wide board. And what that means is if you just explode onto the board with 5/5s early, 1, they have to kill them, and 2, they have to recover damage because they just take too much face damage for it to be a problem.
And now this is so much tempo picked up off that turn from China that Brazil now have to be very, very reserved, or at least if they're going to use that coin, make sure they have an absolutely good reason for it, because suddenly now things like, you know, Hunter's Mark Flanking Strike or Devilsaur Egg, Play Dead, just to try and fight on tempo are very appealing, but both of those plays use up the coin, which is so valuable to be the first player to Katharina in this matchup.
It really is, isn't it? I am honestly torn between the coin with the egg double Play Dead and just Flanking Strike the 3/3. It's very different. They might just go halfway between all of that and not coin, but I don't think you can. Okay, they're going for the Play Dead, so they're saying, you know what, we'll give up the Katharina early, and just try and win the board right now. Does give a window to Brazil to actually just pummel this, because China can cube the 5-5, but then it has to go face.
Yeah.
And then it's even with play dead the next turn. Well, it's still just a 4-6 on the board, and your 3-3 is kind of semi-insignificant right now with the Wolf. So you are giving Race and Team Brazil just a huge chance to actually just get too far ahead in this game before you can get this fancy cube play dead play even off.
I'm going to go for it, though. I was eyeing up the potential of just a Ziliak's turn here to trade out some of the 5-5 to kind of protect that 5-5 for next turn, where you could then cube play dead it immediately.
They could actually create one gigantic swing turn next turn with Hunter's Mark on the cube. Depending on what happens this turn, obviously. If the cube's just a 4-6, you can Hunter's Mark and go, like, create 4 5-5s on the board. Your opponent's on 20. And just put the onus on Brazil to say, well, you're dead if you don't do something. And then they still have decent follow-up in a couple of turns with Katrina, and they can whip in a flanking strike as well. Look at it. This is just straight up, whoever makes more 5-5s wins at this point. Both teams having very similar opening hands.
This is just heavyweight boxing as presented by the movie Rocky. Just big dudes swinging at each other over and over again.
Oh, now double Hunter's Mark means not only can the cube be procced itself by having the death rattle, it means you can actually kill off a 5-5 as well. I keep talking about this Hunter's Mark your own cube, but maybe it's outside the box enough for China to go for.
It is very outside the box.
I like it, though.
Can achieve a similar thing with flanking strike that gets you an extra 3-3. If you want to go down that road. Doesn't take care of a 5-5. Also, I want to rewind this game several turns back to the coin turn for Brazil. So I'm not sure how much that coin really gained them in terms of getting the extra 5-5 in play. It is looking promising now because that extra bit of pressure is making China at least have to think somewhat defensively here. They can't just set up a big board immediately for themselves.
Where's the second Hunter's Mark? But yeah, you are right. They did effectively set up lethal, so it means, as you said, China do have to answer at least one of the minions.
Yeah.
And now China's done the same back. And it is because the hands are so similar. The opening really is, I have more than you, you need to kill. Oh, now I have more than you, you need to kill. And it's just very, very back and forth. And I don't think what Brazil have available to them now is going to be enough, because I don't really think they can track it into anything either.
Well, this Hunter's Mark your own minion, Raven, I actually like a lot more than the last one. Combining it with Houndmaster Shaw, potentially.
It's an egg, though, right?
Yeah, it's an egg.
Yeah. Yep, Devil Star Egg, thank you. Lovely production team. Same turn.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
go. It's just a game of chess, isn't it, where you just mirror your opponent's turn every single time and then just wait for the breakpoints. But the problem is as well, whoever gets that one step ahead, the hero power becomes so significant. Because you can't just clear the minions and be like, oh, okay, we're fine now. It doesn't work. The hero power's going to chunk you down.
Yeah.
So it's already 11, only 2 damage required from China to win this game, and there's 1.
That 1 was all they could have, really, though, right? Yes. It's a weird spot.
There's no Argus, right?
No, don't think so.
Oh, but there is Void Ripper. Ooh. So Void Ripper Candle Shot would have been lethal.
Yeah. Just Void Ripper on its own. 4-6 into a 6-4 would have done the job. This Ziliak's is huge, though, because the way the game's progressed over the last couple of turns is both teams have had to kind of respect each other.
Right.
This Ziliak's kind of entitles you to a little lack of respect because, you know, you do get the healing, you do put a taunt in the way, so it allows China, if they want to here, to be much more aggressive than they'd have to otherwise.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me here is for Team China, I don't see past a Candle Shot Hunter's Mark, because then you clear everything except 2 eggs off the board, and yes, you're not going face, and maybe they'll push the damage to face and go halfway, but they could clear everything, leave 2 eggs on the board and say, how do you even kill us at this point?
Yeah. 9.
Like I said, this is also completely reasonable.
Yeah, no, I think this is what the Ziliax really just entitles you to do, right? You have a taunt minion in the way, you've got that little bit of life steal, you're expecting to get some more from the next attack. These minions are very innocuous in terms of the trades they can make back into you. I don't really see any massive downside to trading with them. Sorry, to going face there and pushing the damage to end the game next turn.
Rexar possibly a downside? Doesn't really matter, right? Doesn't change anything?
Well, if you trading is worse against
Rexar,
because
right? The damage is done.
You just miss damage and
yeah,
the
no,
trades
you're
are
right. You're right. I'm just trying to think of the crazy situations that could come up, but I think you are right. And there's a big difference right now between having eggs and having dinosaurs, as you would believe, and that was the one.